Hey guys, I had the opportunity to give a speech to a very prominent club over in Albany, Georgia today, and it brought up a couple of topics that are very important to me. But I'm going to step on a few toes, and I want you to understand that even though I'm going to be very harsh, I'm going to be very critical. That my criticism comes from a place of wanting to solve the problem, wanting to make sure that those that come behind me understand something that they may not otherwise have access to. So here's the problem. Let's talk about art. So it's very arguable that some of the stuff that I do in here is art. In fact, most people would call me an artist, although I've never been particularly comfortable with the title. But there's a problem here. And why is it that in the entirety of South Georgia, I am one of the few people that make a living doing this type of work? Surely there are better artists out there than me. And there are. I mean, believe me, they're just, I mean, they're too many to count that are better than I am. And I make no bones about that. But why am I sitting in a successful business and they are not? That's the quandary. Why is that? And I'm going to point a big finger toward the universities at this point. When I was in college for a dual degree in psychology and biology. But I hung out at the art department. And I even had teachers tell me, professors there in the art department, that I would never be any sort of artist because I was too much of a crafty person, you know, that I just didn't, for whatever reason, I just wasn't there. 4 or 5 years later, when I was paid to come back as Artist of the Year to teach classes and give lectures on how I did it, anybody within 10 feet of me probably could have died from the amount of smug that I was giving off at that point. And, you know, and I will go as far as to say I was absolutely right to be that way. So it's not that I don't want to see any other artist succeed. It's just I have an extreme contempt for what is being taught in the art schools. You know, these kids go in there that have this, let us say, the art affliction. More oftentimes than not, that's an apt description. You know, we are the ones that have anxiety issues. We're the weird kid. We're the one that you know something's not off. We suffer from depression, anxiety, and a host of other mental brain snakes. And one of the ways that we keep those at bay is the work that we do. So I understand that there is a particular vein of people that are in that end of it. The problem is when you go into a university setting, and I've heard this so many times, these professors say, you know, if you feel it, it has meaning and it is profound. And there's this terrible thing that happens because there's some form of a logical or illogical jump that just because it has this profound meaning for you, that of course everyone else must find it profound. If they don't, they're losers. They're the ones that's wrong because they don't see you as a perfect, unique flower. And I think you see this becoming more and more prominent, that just because I assert something, because I say this and it means this to me, whether or not you have a good reason, that if someone else doesn't immediately bow down to it, oh yes, this has great meaning, then they're bad people. It's not how it works, guys. And I see it happen especially when somebody decides that they want to go into business as an artist, because certainly if I pour my heart out into this thing, you know, regardless of whether it's technically nice or not, that it just has this profound meaning and therefore I need this money. Sorry, does not work that way. You are in fantasy land. You know, the only time that actually makes sense is after you have smoked the entire bowl. Once heard referred to as the glass pipe fallacy, that you can only believe that if you've been smoking crack. And that's the situation. So guys, artists, if you're young and you want to do your craft, you're going to have to know something about business. Period. And I don't care. No, I see your objections. Well, I'm a glass blower, I'm a painter. It does not matter. You can be an underwater basket weaver. If you do not understand business, you have a problem. There are objective standards to business. Art is out there. It means different things to other people. It can be monetized. And just because you do make a living from your work does not mean you're a sellout. Every time I hear some dreadlocked hippie say, well, if you sell your work, you do this, you're a sellout, then you know what? Fine. Go out to your tent at Burning Man, smoke everything that you want to, and be happy the rest of your life. Vaya con Dios, I bless you. Go forth. But for the rest of us that aren't quite willing to go without deodorant for that long, there is a different thing. And the problem is, and this is the reason I point the finger at the universities, is because they will take you and they will take your money. They will take your money, they will take your parents' money, and they will teach you about the great masters. They'll teach you about all this great stuff except how to walk out of class on the last day of your education and make a living. Why not? What are you paying them for? What are you getting in return? If you want to go out and be an artist, a self-sustaining artist, by definition, you're going to be in business. By definition. There's a place up the road called Passaquan, and there's a crazy dude that has this compound, and he did painting and sculptures and everything else, and it's amazing. It's brilliant stuff. He was a nut job, okay, and didn't make a lot of money until he died. And then everybody said, well, this is really cool stuff. And then there are all these fundraisers. Now the place makes money. If you don't want to have to wait till you're dead for your work to provide for you, listen to what I'm saying. If you want to go into business as an artist, go into business. You need to go and study as hard about business mechanics as you did about brush techniques on an oil canvas. I'm sorry. It doesn't work any other way. The only other way it works is that if you're a trust fund kid and you don't have to worry about money to start with. But if you don't have a trust fund, if you don't have a billionaire patron that's going to pay you $1 million to throw poop on a canvas, for the rest of us, business. And sorry, I know it means something to you. I know it's important to you to have everybody else like your work. And it's great because let me tell you, how many people come by and say, oh, Trent, your work is so beautiful. Fantastic. They didn't hand me $2,000. I would much rather have somebody tell me my work looked like crap and then cut me a check for it than the other way around. It is a great feeling to have your work admired. It is one of the most reaffirming things for those of us who may be lacking in the security, in the self-security department. But that's all ephemeral, and it's all in your brain. But the fact of the matter is, none of this can pay for your rent bill. So folks, if you want to really do art, and you want to be a successful artist, business should be the first thing on your lips, and your art should be second. See you guys.